Let's start off in Fireworks by creating a new document. So if you have this welcome screen open, you can just click Fireworks document there, or always go up to File and New. And so we have a little bit of room to work. I want a canvas that's 900 pixels by 500 pixels. Any extra canvas we'll cut off. The resolution doesn't matter because we're not printing. Click OK. Alright, so Fireworks opens up this canvas. Now, because I created a pretty big canvas, Fireworks is only showing it to me there at 63% of its actual size. And we'll talk a little bit about that as we go, about that percentage there. So first, I'm going to create this background rectangle. So over here in my Tools toolbar, you'll see this section that is labeled Vector. I'm going to pick up the rectangle tool there. Now if that rectangle tool isn't showing, that little black triangle there means there's other options here. So if I click and hold on that, I get all the other options, some pre-made vector shapes. So I'm just going to use just the rectangle tool, and I'm going to start off by setting the color to be white down here in my properties bar. Change the stroke to black. That'll be okay for now. And I'm going to draw out this rectangle. I'm not trying to draw it at the exact right size, because as soon as I get it created, did you see I immediately after I drew the rectangle went back and got my black selection tool up there. And with that I can click and drag around and move this. Once I have this rectangle drawn and selected, I'm going to come down here to the properties bar, and I'm just going to make the rectangle the size that I want it to be. The width is what I'm mostly concerned about, so I'm going to say I want this to be 770 pixels wide, and the height a little less important, but I want it big enough, so I'm going to do 400. Push return or enter, and that I get those properties there. Now because I've got a white rectangle on a white background, right now I'm just going to go and change this canvas color to any other color, just so my rectangle shows up. So I'm going to click out here in the gray area off the canvas, and the property bar changes, and there's my canvas color palette. And I think for now I'm just going to kind of pick a color. It's probably not going to be the one I want to have at the end, but I just want a different color here so I can see what I'm working on. Okay. Also, because we are zoomed out, we're not seeing this at 100%. The thin 1 pixel wide border that's around my rectangle sometimes will disappear, which is okay because I know it's there. Just at that magnification, we can't draw those 1 pixel lines accurately. Okay, so I've got this rectangle. Now this is going to be the primary rectangle for my layout. Everything else is going to sit on top of it. So I'm going to go down and make sure it's in a position on the canvas that is easy to remember. So I'm going to put it here at 50 pixels on the x-axis and 50 pixels on the y. And any number is okay. I just want it to be a number that I write down, because as I stack stuff on top of this, if things get out of alignment, it's nice to know that that these are all aligned at 50-50, so that I can easily get back to them. Okay, now the other thing I want to take care of at this point is if I would like this layout or my web layout to have rounded corners. So this rectangle is going to also determine that. So I'm going to select it, and here in the stroke section of the properties toolbar I have a roundness control, so I might just grab that and I can round it up, say to 10 pixels, and it might have been kind of subtle there, but hopefully you can see that that it has, whoops, didn't mean to do that. Let me just zoom in on a corner there. You can see it's put a rounded corner there. Now if it looks too pixelated, you might take that off. There are some options here on this bar. I've created a black 1 pixel wide border, and the border style here in this category I can choose basic, and a soft line will give me a pretty good effect. If I choose basic and say hard line, you'll see it becomes much more jagged there. It's much more harder for Fireworks to make that line really look like a curve. So I'm just going to choose soft line. Alright, so let's zoom back out here so we can see the whole thing. Okay, so that's the rectangle that's going to make up the foundation of all my other parts that I'm going to stack on top of here. Okay, so I am going to create a header up here and a footer, and I want those to match up to the same width and to have the same rounded corners as this rectangle. So instead of me having to I'm going to need other rectangles to create the header and another rectangle to create the footer. So instead of me having to create those new each time, I'm just going to copy this rectangle. So I'm just going to do a Control C or a Command C or a Control C, whatever you have. Or I can always go up to the Edit and copy, and then I can edit and paste. And you won't see it show up because it's exactly on the top. The only place you're going to see this is over here in the Layers panel. So now I have two of these rectangles. Now if your layer panel is not showing, then the window menu here across the top is the place you can quickly find it and turn it on. So you can just open that up, go to Layers. We need to be able to see these layers over here. Okay, so I'm going to paste until I have a total of 4 of these rectangles, and I might not use all of them, but I just want them here so that I don't have to sort of recreate this. Okay, and then I'm going to name these. So the very bottom one down here, this is going to be my BG rectangle. So that's going to be the background rectangle. And then I'm going to have this rectangle is going to be the one I'm going to use for my header. And this other one here is going to be the one I'm going to use for my footer. So I'm just giving these names just so I can kind of tell them apart as we get working. And then this one, I might just name this Extra, just in case I need another one while I'm working. Okay, now with that, I've got these objects over here. Now I don't want to have them all visible and have to try to figure out which one I'm on. So right now I'm going to lock that extra one and turn it off so it's hidden. I'm going to lock the footer rectangle and turn it off so it's hidden. Do the same with the header and turn it off so it's hidden. And then that shows me that the one that's visible now out on the canvas is the background rectangle. Because there's just one more thing I want to do to this. I want to put a little shadow all the way around it to help it sort of stand out off the page a little bit, and I only need that on this background rectangle. That's why I copied and pasted these other rectangles before this last step. Okay, so I'm going to click once on this rectangle to select it, and then come down to the Properties bar, and in the last section over here there's it says Filters and a little plus button next to that. So I'm going to click on the plus, and here is where I can find the drop shadow and the glow. Now drop shadow works, it puts the shadow on two sides, usually the right and the bottom side. I want it all the way around, and so I'm going to use glow. So I click on glow. Now it starts off, it puts the glow on, you can see, and it makes it, the default's this red color. And I think they do that just so that it shows up, so you can tell that it happened. But I've got this little dialog box that's up that lets me adjust that, because really I just want sort of a subtle gray here to be the glow, and maybe a little bit darker than that. Okay, and I can also adjust this number here, 5. That's basically how far off the page my document would be, so it's creating a 5 pixel wide shadow. And there are a few other controls over here. I'm not going to worry too much about that, but if I wanted it to look like my document was higher off the ground, I could lift that up. I can just adjust the width basically of that shadow, but I'm going to leave it just as it is. So if I click back up here on the canvas, that dialog box goes away, and you can see that I've applied the glow filter to this rectangle. And if I decide I don't like it at some point, I can select it here and push the minus, and that takes it off. I'm going to put it back on quick. Or if I just want to see what it looks like without the filter on, that's what this checkbox is for. I can click on that check, and it takes the filter off, and you can see the red X now, and I click on that, it turns it back on. Also, if I want to go back and edit that shadow, maybe I want to keep the shadow but I need it darker or lighter or bigger or smaller, this little symbol circle with the eye in it, if I click on that, it brings up that dialog box again. Okay, so while I'm before we end this tutorial, I'm going to go up and do File, Save, because I want to make sure that I get a PNG saved for this project. So that's my layout.png, my master copy, and I'm going to click on Save.